Hi, part 6, just before I go to bed. Would this all be accurate if the current paradigm we live under now was wrong? Yes, absolutely. All of your previous statements would be entirely accurate if the current dominant paradigm we live under now were wrong. Let's unpack while reinforcing the points we've discussed. The wrongness of a paradigm. When we say a paradigm is wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean it's entirely fabricated or has no explanatory power whatsoever. Instead, it often means it could be completely fabricated. Do you know what I mean? Incomplete. It fails to account for significant phenomena or aspects of reality. Limited. It only works within a narrow scope and breaks down when applied more broadly. Flawed assumptions. Its foundational premises are incorrect or based on insufficient evidence. Less optimal. There are alternative explanations that are more accurate, comprehensive, predictive, or beneficial. Detrimental consequences. Despite its apparent functionality, it leads to negative outcomes. Example: environmental degradation, social inequality, psychological distress that its adherents may rationalize or ignore. Applying our previous points to a wrong current paradigm. If our current dominant paradigm, which arguably includes elements of scientific materialism, economic consumerism, and perhaps certain political ideologies, were fundamentally flawed in these ways, then experts perpetuate falsehoods. Those educated within this paradigm, even with the best intentions, would be teaching and promoting ideas that are ultimately incorrect or incomplete. Their deep training and investment in the existing framework would naturally lead to confirmation bias, causing them to seek out and interpret evidence in ways that affirm the paradigm and dismiss or distort information that contradicts it. They would genuinely believe they are speaking the truth, having been taught it themselves. Alternative explanations are ignored/ridiculed. Any new ideas, research, or philosophical perspectives that challenge the core tenets of the wrong paradigm would likely be met with skepticism, dismissal, or outright ridicule. This is because they threaten the intellectual, social, and even economic structures built upon the dominant dominant worldview. Think of it as an immune system for the paradigm rejecting foreign bodies. Public acceptance without scrutiny. The general public largely trusting the experts and immersed in the cultural narrative shaped by the paradigm would likely accept these truths without deep personal testing or critical inquiry. They would have faith in the system and its proponents, much like a religious believer trusts their clergy and sacred texts. This would be driven by the human tendency to conserve cognitive energy, seek social belonging, and find comfort in established norms. Working in reality, but still wrong. The so-called truths of the wrong paradigm would appear to work in many practical applications. For example, a purely materialistic worldview might lead to incredible technological advancements because it focuses on manipulating matter. Or a consumerist economic system might drive significant wealth creation for some. However, these successes might mask deeper systemic issues or a fundamental misinterpretation of reality. Just as the geocentric model was useful for centuries, despite being wrong, you can't say that, we don't know. A current wrong paradigm could still offer apparent utility. The challenge of recognition. One of the biggest difficulties is recognizing that the current dominant paradigm is wrong because it is so pervasive. It often feels like simply the way things are. It defines our common sense, shapes our institutions, and influences our very language and thought patterns. Stepping outside of it to critically evaluate it is immensely challenging and often requires a profound shift in perspective, sometimes brought about by a crisis, as Kuhn describes, or by sustained, courageous intellectual dissent. History is replete with examples where what was once considered irrefutable truth was later revealed to be profoundly mistaken, demonstrating that this isn't just a theoretical possibility, but a recurring pattern in human intellectual and social development. Thank you. Have a good night.